right. It's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
All day.
Told you it was going to be Tuesday, and Tom's like, no, it's not going to be Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It actually might be Tuesday.
It might be Tuesdays. That
Hey.
means Tad was right.
Well, broken clock's right twice a day, too. So
You don't know Alan.
true. That is true. Hey, we're powering speed on Tuesday, 908-751-0211. Do it.
Tad, that's you.
That's your
I
cue,
know.
Tad.
Shut up. Like us on the Book of Faces. Drink some water,
What?
Zuckerberg.
Can't you just do the...
He can't. He can't.
It is so boring. The same thing over and over and over.
But then, I could make Alexa say it, and you could just stay home.
cool.
That's a good-looking shirt you got on today, Tad.
Yeah, I try.
So, big Power and Speed podcast news.
Really?
Yes.
Huh, lay it on us.
You're pregnant.
Tad has his car back.
Yay.
That's true. He broke it already.
And he broke it.
Yeah, he did.
So would you mind explaining to me how you've had your car back a total of like 20 minutes?
60 miles on the odometer.
It's like 15 minutes.
And you're not supposed to beat on it because it's breaking in.
Right.
We're not even going to go down that road, but for once, Tad is doing the right thing. He's following what people told him to do because he doesn't want to get blamed for anything. So he's going through a break-in process.
Yep. Driving up 78, past a truck. All of a sudden, I hear something start squeal. I was like, what's that? Just thinking it's a bearing, but got new bearings. Then all of a sudden, starts so loud you can't even hear yourself think. The rear end stutters. It's like, crap. Turn on the blinker. All of a sudden, the accent is dragging, and I pull into the shoulder, and it just locks up. The rear end's dragging. I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. Try to drive it forward. It doesn't want to go.
So you passed the truck, huh?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Were you using a substantial amount of throttle?
Nope.
During that exercise?
Didn't have to.
Did the truck have anything to do with it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
I think
anyway,
Mike knows what happened.
Does he now?
Well, I have a question. How long was your car parked for?
What, 3 years?
Okay. Who was responsible for looking at the fitness of other things in the vehicle?
I do not know.
Like if there was rear end fluid or moss or mold or anything growing in the rear end housing?
That'd be you, mutton chops.
Drove it 3 days before that. Had no problem, no noises.
That's like the shit my dad used to say to me. What'd you do to it? Nothing. What were you doing? Just driving down the road. What were you doing 3 days before? Nothing. Well, so you got parts though to fix it, right?
Yes, correct.
You actually got them today. That is why you came in huffing and puffing at 6:49.
I was coming back down, finally on 78, turned off on 31, and we had Florida lightning. Didn't reach the ground. It went in a giant rectangle up in the air, and I was like, and I can't have my GoPro for this, man. But
I saw that.
did you? That was
The one
pretty-
it was like 4 seconds
yeah,
long.
It was like holy. Crap,
What was that?
look
What
at
was that shape it was again?
Rectangular, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. Didn't he say it different last
I
time?
wasn't listening.
Okay.
We do have this recorded, so if he really fucks something up, we can go back and listen. Yeah, it was really bad here to the point that I didn't even know if we were going to have internet.
Right.
It was super dark, and if there was like a line of the storms, we were right on it. Like nothing really bad went over
Well, the
us.
picture I sent you, I took Long Swamp Road to PMP Automotive.
Yeah.
I'm coming back out that way. The freaking telephone pole's over the road.
You know, much like our listeners, I have no idea where Long Swamp Road is. I don't know.
It's in Wardsville.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Wardsville.
still doesn't help me, Todd.
PA.
Okay.
Is Wardsville part of like Harry Potter land?
Couldn't tell you, Ralph, man, you know.
All right. So let's go to more serious news other than Tad being silly with his stupid Subaru.
Yeah, let's talk about car shit.
I have in my possession the Tahoe headers. We are ready to start fabricating. We got headers that are going to work. They're nice. They're short. They're exactly what they got to be. So we're going to get started.
Good.
Maybe even this weekend.
Nice.
And I don't know how long it will take. I have essentially everything I need. I don't think I'm really missing anything.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, might pull it apart this week. Oh, you know.
We just finished welding them when Tad got here.
Yeah, Tad got here and they were still warm.
Yep.
He didn't believe us.
I'm just going to walk around touching things. Ooh, is this warm?
So it's the little Tahoe is going to get started. We're really close. Oh, I wonder what to do here because they're going to come put the lift in. That's the other thing.
What are they doing now?
2 weeks. They had originally told me a month, that it was going to take them a month to get it. It's like, how could it possibly take you a month to get a lift? I mean, they got to make millions of these things.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when I called them up, that was corrected. So 2 weeks, they'll be cutting a hole in the floor and dropping it in.
Nice.
I'm not fucking around with any posts.
Apparently not.
Are you not hydraulic like good old TK days?
No, but a twin post.
All right.
It's I read a lot about them. I settled on a rotary. That's the brand.
Right.
So it's a twin post cartridge type. So they, I guess, cut a hole in the floor and dig out the hole and drop the thing in, support it, fill it up, cement around it. It's done. It only holds like 5 gallons of fluid.
Really?
Yeah, it holds like next to nothing.
That's good when it leaks, right?
How much will it pick up?
10,000.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
So it'll do under your excursion or thing. So
Yeah, it'll lift any of the trucks. It'll lift anything. And the other nice thing is the top comes off.
Yeah, you were saying.
You got the cylinders. There's like 5 bolts around the top.
Yep.
If you took them off, cylinders are like flush.
Yeah. So you
take up.
So you could take it off and move it somewhere with the forklift, and it's really not there.
Yeah, really kind of out of the way. But where I want to put it, it's not really going to be too much in the way anyway. But if there were posts, it would be in the way. That would bother me.
Well, it would just bother you because you're mental.
Yeah, I just it's not so much about being mental.
No, it's a lot about being mental, but go ahead.
I just don't like those types of lifts.
Okay.
I just don't. I mean,
well, the posts suck because every time you put something on, you go to open the door and you're like,
well,
clunk,
no, you get asymmetricals, so the posts are rotated and they got a long arm and a short arm.
Right.
So, and I mean, they can be like as close to a wall as like 90 inches or something. But I don't know. Honestly, they really don't look safe.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. I think they are, but whatever.
The one thing that I like about a lift like a 2-post, although I guess what I'm about to say isn't the case with these.
Oh.
The old lift used to take like, I think 60 gallons of fluid. It had a lot, one big gigantic cylinder. And in order for that thing to fall down, all that fluid would have to get displaced like immediately.
Sure.
Like that's the only way that thing's coming down. With these things, if it only holds 5, that's not a lot to lose.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it's still 5 gallons. I mean, I'm sure that they're metered and orifice size and all those words that you'd need to use.
Orifice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what could ever go bad with them, but they have
and there's safety locks.
Yeah, they have an air safety like down in between the cylinders, some kind of little air deal.
Yep.
And
What, a kick out like or?
No, it's like a little Bimba air cylinder,
Really?
like probably like an air shifter cylinder, and it pulls the safety off when you're going to let the lift down. So it all sounds pretty good. So I think we're going to have that done.
Why don't you put the dyno in the ground too then?
No, because that's something now you got to drive over that fucking thing, or you're walking across, and like I saw that people make things that like lift them up out of the ground. They can sit like, I'm not fucking with that. I like the hub dyno idea.
Oh, that's right. You're getting pods.
Yeah, I like the hub idea. That will be next. Got to get toys. All right, what do you got, Tom?
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, you're not even here. Like I'm talking to you, and you're like half leaning over the mic, looking at your phone.
I'm not looking at my phone.
Well,
His iPad.
You can never tell, will you?
I'm looking at people.
Okay.
What they're saying. Actually, I'm not. I'm just seeing who's on.
We can actually talk about politics.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay.
But it's politics, but it involves car stuff. It does.
Let's do it. Nitro Scott's on.
It does. So, look, I'm kind of, like you said, sort of done with it. I mean, I'll poke fun at them here and there because they're just so retarded. Not you, Scott. You're all right. We'll let you go.
He's half.
But they got this Stormy Daniels attorney, Avenatti.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, got to give the guy a little bit of credit. He's raced and finished in 24-hour Le Mans races.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Finished 7th in his class and finished running. So for me, I've always been a road race guy. I always watch this stuff. You finish running, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
24 hours. It's a big deal.
Made the whole thing. I mean, kind of a sissy. He's driving a Ferrari. No offense.
Well,
should be a Corvette guy.
Yeah.
That's just me. But he finished. He finished 7th. But the thing that's funny about it, anybody who's a car guy knows that the last thing you want your friends busting on you for, or worse yet, somebody that doesn't like you, is saying you can't drive.
Yep.
He got told on so badly on Twitter for a little while, and then it like just kind of, I guess he just stopped engaging him.
He cried uncle. I
think so. Because people were teasing him like, you loser, you're a back marker, you were the second car from the last car running. The hashtag was going around, can't drive a hot nail through a snowman's ass. I mean, just ruthless. And the thing that made it funny, I mean, look, you're picking on this guy, and unless people understood that he was a race car driver, you wouldn't ever think about it.
No.
But no race car driver wants to hear that.
No.
So that's my political corner. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was. You were telling me that yesterday. It was pretty.
And it is kind of funny that all we're worried about is a porn star.
I know.
A busted porn star, too.
I know.
Rough.
Yeah, she must be like over 40 or something.
A bit.
That's like twice the legal limit.
But around here?
Yeah, around here, too. You're right about that.
I don't know. I really don't care.
No.
I don't care. Do you care, Todd?
Not offhand.
He doesn't even know.
Actually, did you see well, I know Mike didn't. Did you see Formula One this
weekend? Why are you breathing into your mic? You hang your nose over the fucking face guard. I kept hearing this. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Mike's going to get a punch in the mouth.
Go ahead.
You see the first turn Formula One race this weekend? I can't remember who it was, but he started spinning, kept his foot in it, like drift style, spun around backwards, took out like 4 or 5 cars. It was pretty,
first turn?
First turn, of course.
Wow. Where were they, in Spain?
Yes.
And that was probably the most exciting moment of the entire race.
No, it was pretty good otherwise. There were some unfortunately, some good passes that rarely ever happen, but.
If you had to venture to guess, how many passes were there in that Formula One race?
On this one, quite a few. And
how long a race was it?
Wasn't that long.
In time. Hours?
Yeah. Was it an hour and a half or
that's one of the problems I got with Formula One. It's really just guys driving around.
It was a little bit more than that with this one, but it was the first accident, and then yellow car, following the
safety car.
Safety car. Screwed up everybody's. I'm only going to have one pit stop run, and like everybody had to change up their. Okay, which tires I'm going to run now? How many stops am I going to make? And a lot of it came down to like who's in the pit. You're going to come out before the guy you want to beat, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think once the sound changed of the cars, they really lost me because I could still, even though they sucked, they would do in-car and you could listen to that and just watch in-car driving. I could watch that for an hour.
The one thing I liked about this one, since I guess Bernie no longer has it, they have, when they come out 2 cars, they have 2 dashes down at the bottom. You're watching them what gear they're on, 7th or 8th gear, blah, blah, blah. How hard they're on the brake pedal or how hard they're on the gas. And you can actually see them trying to dive in on each other and see, you get more of what the driver's doing than just watching a car trying to pass somebody. You can see like the driver's actually downshifting. Mm-hmm. Is he on the brakes? Is he on the gas? What percentage and stuff? RPM, mile an hour, because everything's data fed in. And you now that you don't have the shriek of the RPM, you can hear them talking to the pit and back. Hearing them tell, no, don't do this, do this.
None of that changes it for me. But I will say one thing. I saw the steering wheels that different guys have.
There's a lot of shit going on there.
There is a lot of shit going on.
And it's got to be muscle memory because you're not looking down when you're doing 200-something miles an hour.
They said that like that the tracks are raced by memory.
Right.
That like they get into a rhythm of just, all right, left, right, easy brake, The whole thing, don't they have small, like that's why the tires look so goofy. Aren't the wheels small because they're trying to enforce a brake rule?
Yeah, they were trying, but it always gets topped, after a couple of races.
Yeah, but I mean, if you only got so much, like I can't remember what the wheel diameter is, but I don't think it's
small.
15.
No, I don't think it's 15 either.
I almost think it might be something stupid like 13.
Well, it's weird looking. It's the outside, and then it dives in. They have everything blocked off so you can't get any air on them to keep the heat with them. Even Ferrari had to come in because something broke. And the first thing those guys do, they put the fans on the brakes to keep them from blowing in flames because they no longer have air going over them.
I can fix Formula One. Yes. Make the tires like 9 inches wide, and let's see who can drive.
Yeah, well, that would fix anything.
It would fix it. It should fix everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what happens with NASCAR, what happens with everything? More aero, more this, more that. It's stupid.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the wings now, how many layers each little winglet's got.
And they're getting
ridiculous.
I mean, look, I guess if they want to keep it as expensive as it is, somehow or another they've lasted.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
One good one was when you have the track and then it goes down to the, not the curving, like the outside. They're doing the slow-mo as the car comes around. You see the tire wrapping from the track down to the substrate. And you're thinking how fast he's going and how thin a wall that tire's got to have. It's an ATC tire. It's so flexy.
I thought those tires were actually really heavy and had a lot of structure. I thought they were.
Not from what I saw. It's like, holy crap. You know, when he came around.
Yeah, but think about the force.
I
mean,
how much?
You said substrate.
Yes.
The fuck are you talking about?
Well, there's the track, and then there's the not the shoulder, but
that's not what substrate means.
I know what he meant.
Whatever macadam that is. There's the track, and then there's the outer that they're not supposed to go on, and he's half on, half off.
Sorry.
You see the tire conforming down 2 inches and touching it. I was like, wow, I'm surprised it doesn't destroy the tire or its internal structure. Doing that at the speed they're doing and stuff like that.
Well, I hate to think what those tires even cost.
Well,
they're doing all kinds
of
kinds of nonsense, limiting fuel.
Yeah.
Now you got to get through,
and you have to run this tire and this tire. You can't go through, one.
I'm sorry. Out of all the stuff, I will still to this day say that my most favorite thing to watch on TV are those V8 supercars from Australia. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're kind of cool.
They go at it. They're hard as hell on each other. It just is fantastic. And maybe, look, I don't like Cup. I haven't watched, Cup races forever.
I thought you liked Grey's Anatomy.
That's a whole nother subject, Tom, in a different direction. But if you really wanted to go down that road, we could discuss.
Good, have at it.
All right. Yeah, I don't really watch it much anymore.
Not since what's his face quit racing?
No, because it got political. And they're always trying to give me, you feel like there should be a little character that pops out aside says message.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I'll pass.
Yeah.
I'll pass.
Hey, we got a guest.
We do?
I think. Is this Chris?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, man. How are you?
Hey, can you guys hear me okay? I'm in my car.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Are you driving?
Yeah, it's just kind of like my little fortress of solitude right here.
Oh, nice, nice. So, everybody, this is Chris Delgado. Apparently, he's a famous calibrator from down south. Welcome to the show, man.
How did you let that whole thing go? You didn't even ask him what he was driving. We're car guys. And you're like, oh, you're driving?
Well, the whole driving thing is killing me right from jump. So, don't drive into any bad areas, like cell areas.
Oh, man, there's one little spot I'll warn you right before I go through it. Other than that, I'm pretty good most of the way.
All right, cool. So, thanks for coming on. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, what do you guys want to know?
I mean, long walks on the beach type stuff.
Well, I own Prospeed Autosports. I've been tuning cars since I really started tuning cars probably around 2000 or so, like 99, 2000, right around that time period. I actually started on front wheel drive Honda stuff, all motor Civics and stuff like that. And then I moved up to turbo cars, and then I got into V8s, and I kind of just jumped on anything that I could get my hands on that had a computer that was adjustable, and met up with some other guys that had a shop and started tuning cars for them. And I had other jobs, did some computer programming and some proprietary control system programming stuff. So I had a little bit of a programming background, but I always came back to tuning cars.
So the control programming and stuff like that wasn't automotive related. It was like industrial controls.
I did automation controls for audio visual stuff. They have these touch panels that you can use to control screens and projectors and lights, and I did all the interfacing for that.
Yeah, like AMX or Crestron or something.
Yeah, actually, Crestron and AMX, both of them, actually. Yep, that's exactly what I did. So I did a lot of that, and then I also did, before that, I did some like database application development stuff, some web database, custom home contractor that kind of wanted to automate his business. So I taught myself PHP and JavaScript and basically wrote this whole web application to run his business, and then he fired me. Yeah, so the deal originally was, he was like, yeah, as soon as this thing's up and going, I'm going to start selling it to all my builder buddies, and I'll give you a commission. As soon as it was up running good enough to where, you know, he could use it, I got canned.
You know, it's funny, had a guy do exactly that to a friend of mine, doing some kind of like virtual filing cabinet kind of thing. Went crazy getting everything written, and then the guy's like, yeah, well, you know, I don't know. Maybe we'll just forget all this, and that was it. Terrible.
The amount of hours invested in that thing was ridiculous. I mean, I would go 2 or 3 days, and this was, you know, I was young. I was just out of high school, so I would go 2 or 3 days straight without sleep, you know, Dr. Pepper and Hot Pockets, just thrashing on sections of code because I was just in the groove, and I'm like, man, I'm just going to keep going until I finish, and then I'll go sleep for a day. So it was a kind of a shot in the head when he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you're fired. Well, thanks.
So were you, when you finally decided to move just into the automotive side, like was a situation like that what made you move into it altogether? Like, when did you decide, look, there's a living here, this is where I can make money?
No, I mean, I worked at a couple other places, you know, doing manual labor stuff. I actually worked in a manufacturing facility for a little while, and the main reason I did that is so I could go through all the ISO certifications and kind of learn more about that stuff. And I don't know, I just kind of tried to find jobs for things that I kind of wanted to know. They're like, oh, I always want to do that, so let me go try to find a job doing that where I can learn it.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of how we pick guests.
Yeah, I was kind of always tuning cars. You know, I was learning. I wouldn't say I was really tuning cars yet. I was learning how to tune cars, you know, from 2000. So I'd say probably 2005, 2006, I felt like I started to get a good grasp of a lot of the concepts, and I started making headway and moving to more platforms. And it finally just got to the point where I was making more money tuning cars in the evening than I was at my day job. And I was like, well, this is more fun anyway, so why don't I just do this instead? And kind of transitioned into it that way.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. All of a sudden you see that the income from the side gig is easier and you'd like to spend more time doing it, and then you make that slide over. That's cool. So it started with the import stuff, and I did, you know, peruse the Facebook page, as much as I hate Facebook. A lot of Corvette stuff. I mean, so it isn't just foreign car stuff anymore, like you said, for sure.
Oh no, I've been doing all different. I've got from, you know, like White Rice all the way to the Unicorn Vet is one that we did. I know you guys had Josh Ledford on the show. Me and him worked together on a project back when he was working at LMR, that Tejano Blue Corvette. When they won the Texas Invitational, I was actually tuning that car together with Ledford. We teamed up on it, and that was the first rear wheel drive to ever win the King of the Street in Texas Invitational. So
what year was that? That was a few years ago.
Man, I couldn't tell you exactly what year it was. It was definitely
several
5-6 years ago. I mean, it was a while back, but I've done a lot of Vipers, and I've got a new project I'm working on. It's my first like really, really big engine car. It's like Godzilla. It's basically like a Jerry Bickle Pro Stock chassis that's been retired, and it's got 800 cubic inch Sonny Leonard motor in it with twin 98s.
Jesus.
And it's a no prep deal, so I put a Motec on it for him, and been playing around with that thing, so it's been kind of fun.
Is Motec your
motorcycles?
Sorry.
Sorry?
I was just going to say, is Motec your ECU of choice, or do you do a lot of different stuff?
Man, to be honest with you, I've tuned so many different ECUs over the years. I'm pretty fluent in quite a few of them. I would say the top 2 or 3 that I would recommend to most people, you know, from just what I like, I guess, would be the Motec, the Pro A5, and I'm starting to do a lot more of the Haltech Elite. I've been doing Haltech since they were DOS-based back in the day, but you know, I follow them through their Platinum Sport stuff, and I wasn't real too I was like, it's okay, it's not too bad. And then the elite stuff, they've really made some big improvements, and I'm starting to enjoy tuning those again. So
that's pretty cool.
I've done them all, like big stuff, and I've messed with Fuel Tech and Mega Squirt and Fast. Actually, I was working on the Fast today on the car, so I pretty much got my hands in all of them for the most part.
Well, that's good, and I guess you've kind of drifted over to the LS world a little bit heavier than anything else now, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of more from a business, standing. I mean, there's a lot more Corvettes on the road than there are, or Corvettes. But I shouldn't say Corvettes. There's a lot more Corvette, Camaro, CTSV, Escalade, truck, and there's the trucks than there are, Toyota Supras or Hondas nowadays, that are being modified. So it's a good market to be in. There's a lot of volume of vehicles to work on. My company, we make a lot of our own products that we sell. So we did a lot of cooling mods, products for the C6 platform, and we moved into the C7 platform. We actually OEM some components for some other companies, big name companies. We just did all the design work and basically, manufactured them for them. And we've also got a port injection system that we developed in conjunction with Pro A5 for the DI. For any of the newer DI GM-based cars, we basically interface. I did all the legwork on it. So basically, we interface directly with the CAN bus on the vehicle. We pull all our data through CAN. So literally, all we have that wires into the factory harness is power, ground, CAN high and low, and key switch, and that's it.
Really?
Everything else that comes into our what we call the ACM is all CAN based. So it's the wiring harness is super simple. Yeah, and we've got guys that have made 1,500 horsepower with our system, and it's been working pretty well. So
I guess at this point, that gets you around some of the limitations that people are currently finding with the components available for the DI stuff, and then I guess it takes care of some of, like the valve problems and all the crap you hear about that they have issues.
Yep.
But no, that's a pretty easy hookup too.
Yeah, and we sell it complete. It's like a whole, nice motorsports grade harness. I mean, it's not cheap. It's definitely one of the more expensive options, but, we use really high quality, wiring components. Everything's like literally you just plug in some connectors, mount everything, and fire it up, and it's ready to go. Like there's not really much to it. We've got breakouts if you want to add additional sensor, but the really cool thing that I think really sets that system apart is it also does boost control, it does nitrous control, it'll do 3D mappable methane injection. And it also has like some fail-safe options. So if you want to set it up where like if it goes lean or something, it like will trip, it'll open the bypass valve or something like that on the supercharger. So it's got some added benefits other than just port injection. So it is a little more expensive than everybody else's, but it does do a whole lot more than most of the other competitors do. So it's kind of
is this, for lack of a better way to explain it, is it bidirectional with the stock computer, or does the actions it take just are within itself? If that makes any sense, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's read only. It doesn't actually go the other way. It basically just looks at what the factory ECU does, and it bases all its decisions off of that.
Gotcha.
To put it simply.
Gotcha.
Although I am working on, I have a Motec development license, so I'm actually in the process of finishing. I've got a full standalone Motec project for C7 as well that controls direct injection and port injection, and I've got 90% of all the factory interior functions working. I've still got a couple little things to finish, but that'll be a kind of a full solution when it's done, like a complete ECU replacement deal.
Plug and play.
So, yeah,
Damn.
it's pretty neat. I do a lot of development stuff, and just it's fun. That's where I get my enjoyment from, more than anything else. Trying new things. So
I mean, that's a big deal. That kind of shit is a super big deal to be able to do that
and make everything
it's a lot
work.
of fun for me. Yeah, I mean, it's fun for me. I've always been a kind of a more of a, I didn't go to college or anything. I barely made it through high school, but I've always had a very strong kind of engineering mindset, and I've always liked to know how things work, and I just put my mind to it, I figure it out, and I get it done. So,
wow, that's impressive shit.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's I mean, the plug and play thing. I mean, look, we talked about it for my C5 forever. I wish somebody had something you just drop in, because boy, that would have made life a hell of a lot easier than trying to piggyback or do any of that crap.
Yep.
But it was always kind of striking to me that there wasn't more of that done for more vehicles, because especially as the vehicles age, that like maybe not the, the stereotypical Corvette guy, like the guy, so yeah, Steve Ryman, I'm talking about, you buy me stuff.
Yeah.
Corvette socks, the whole deal. They don't drive the cars hard. So the newer cars, you're trying to target the enthusiasts. I would think that when the cars come off, like, first and second year, as they start to age and people could pick them up for a little less money, or they know they're going to pick them up with some miles on them because they're going to fuck with everything. I'm kind of surprised that more of that never happened. So good for you, man. I think that's a really good angle. It's a really good angle.
Yeah, and early on enough.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, now they're releasing the newer versions are coming with direct injection and port injection, so we're going to have a limited window of vehicles, but we're going to probably move into other platforms too, like some of the earlier EcoBoost stuff, and Mazda has some direct injection cars that are like tuned. We're trying to kind of target the more tuner-friendly cars, the ones that people like to modify. So maybe some of the BMW stuff, I don't know. We haven't really. We're just getting the C7 stuff kind of finished up, so we'll figure out where we're going to go next from there.
Gotcha.
So you obviously, I talked to your I guess your one of your managers, Josh, today, and he said you're a tough guy to get on the phone. So you're dynoing a lot. What did you dyno today? Anything cool? Anything we want to hear about? Actually, we want to hear about your dynos too.
Okay, yeah. Well, I had a ZR1, just a bolt-on deal, nothing crazy. I believe it or not, I mostly do everyday in and out stuff. I don't, I get to do a lot of cool stuff too, but I do a lot more of everyday bolt-on headers, cams, stuff like that. That's what pays the bills. So
yep,
yeah.
But yeah, I do have a pretty cool dyno. I got Dynacom probably about, I'd say 2 years ago, maybe, or a year and a half ago. I was talking to Allison over there because, I had one of their all-wheel drive dynos. Oh, by the way, I'm about to drive through this crappy spot, so I might cut in and out a little bit.
Okay.
So I had one of their all-wheel drive dynos. I had real good luck with it. Never really had too many issues. The couple small problems I had, they always took care of it right away. So, and I was really looking at the mainline hub dynos at the time, and I told Allison, I was like, hey, I really want something like a mainline hub dyno. Could you guys build me something like that? And they're like, oh yeah, well, we have these pods. And I was like, well, the problem was I was already doing cars that were, upwards of 2,000 plus horsepower. And I was already having issues with grip on the rollers. And, it's kind of sketchy when the car's like moving around the straps,
Yep.
Trying to make that kind of power. And, so I was like, I'd really want something that could do this kind of power, but in a pod, like the mainline, because I've been looking at the mainlines for a while. And, man, she's like, well, get with Paul and you guys, talk about exactly what you want to do and, we can build you something. And I was like, hell yeah. So we went back and forth for a couple months on all the things that I would really like to be able to do with it. And the things I liked about other dynos, maybe, certain features I thought were cool or whatever. And man, they built this just badass hub dyno. I mean, it probably wasn't specifically for me, but I like to think it was for me because, I kind of like prompted them to go this route a little bit. But they built me this badass hub dyno that can hold like ridiculous amounts of power. And it's just a monster to look at. I mean, the first time I saw it, I went to PRI and they had it on demo over there and I walked up to it and I just like, I had to just stand there for a second because it was so humongous. It was pretty crazy to look at, but
that's got to be the one up. And see, this is all like people are laughing like my ears are perked up because me personally, being a guy now who's, I guess we'll say it, approaching 50, I've seen enough shit happen. And watching those chassis dynos, man, just the stuff that goes wrong. And everybody's like, well, that went wrong because this happened or that happened. But stuff happens. I think the hub dyno stuff is ideal. I mean, to me, it's exactly what everybody should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the more and more I thought about it, the more I'm like, man, this is really the route I need to go because, we're doing more and more higher powered cars, and it just doesn't make sense to keep trying to do them with tires. The biggest problem is the tires. You just get to a point where you're having to sacrifice so much to keep the car on the roller. and then you run into the tires will start slipping just a little bit. You don't really notice it, and that little bit of tire slip, could be worth that 2 degrees that you just put in it, and you don't even notice. You don't see it on a dyno because it cancels out. There's all these little things that start screwing with you at that power level that makes it to where a chassis dyno is really just not the ideal tool. And these new hubs will take care of the problem. So
yeah, and it takes out that whole variable, the tire. Like, I mean, I have no experience with chassis dynos at all. But like we had discussions with people that said, look, the brand of tires you have, the air pressure, like everything will vary the observed data.
Yeah.
So I would like to take as many variables out as possible. And if you're bolting to the hubs, there's a whole chunk of it that's kind of gone. It makes a lot more sense to me.
Yep. Yeah, there was actually, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the M2K, that mile car. Actually, they used my dyno a couple times. I'm friends with Kevin and Mark over there, and it's kind of interesting because like over the years I've kind of found like which tires works the best, and I have to say the tires that they brought on that car were some of the best tires I ever had. It read just over 2,000 horsepower with no wheel spin, and they were just some regular old Eagle F1s, and those were like the best tires I ever had on that dyno. The R888s get thrashed. Obviously the radials and the slicks would get thrashed. The best tires I've had are like the H series, or just like your really hard, just basic tire seemed to hook the best, I guess, because it didn't get hot and soft and come apart.
Right. Yeah. If we could ever get a tire guy, and we could talk about that, because it sounds like that's exactly what happens. They're tearing, they're getting hot, and they're rolling over themselves.
Yep.
Yeah. The marbling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something about tire guys, we just can't get them.
Well, one of our listeners was complaining about that.
What?
Well, tell him to get a
guy.
Tell him to get a tire guy. Oh,
Fun.
or her.
It's fun.
Oh, all right. Enough said about him.
Well, you know what I'd like to talk about, because I was introduced to this white rice term, I guess last week.
Yep.
Because everybody's like, talk about white rice. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm looking at people in the studio like, what the fuck are you talking about? So why don't you tell us about this project?
Oh man, this car, it's a long story really. One of the first, so me and my current business partner worked together at another shop that he owned several years ago. I was just working there. I didn't own it with him, but we had a customer, Dewey, brought us this 240. It was basically a stock car. He wanted to do just a basic 2J swap, nothing crazy. We put a standalone computer in it, tuned it for him, and that kind of just started this whole mayhem from that point forward. And that car used to drive to San Antonio to a race, run 8s, and drive back. And we ran that car for a couple of years like that. It was just a consistent, high 8-second car. He would drive to a race. We put fuel in the back, and it was a flex fuel deal, and it was on Pro 85 at the time. So, he would drive it there in 93. We get there, we pour E98 in it, blend, to get the ethanol content up, and we'd race, put 93 back in it and drive it home. And we did that for a while, and he kind of got bored of it because we were winning all these like import face-off events. He's like, man, it's like too easy. Like we kept winning these events, and he's like, I want to race some of like the big boys. And I'm like, okay. So we had this plan. We're like, well, let's set it up for X275. Because at that time, I think they were running like 470s or 460s was kind of a respectable time at that time period. And I was like, all right, well, let's see, let's put some radials on this thing, and let's put a bigger turbo, and let's see if we can get the car fast enough. And during that transition, the no prep stuff just kind of started getting more and more popular, and he was really looking at it. He's like, man, this no prep stuff looks like fun. These guys pay out a lot of money, and it just looks like, a great time. And I was like, well, we can run this setup in no prep, so we'll just put slicks on it. So we started doing that.
Now, not to interrupt you, but at that point that you started to go to the no prep, how fast was the thing capable of going like on a prep track?
When we first started racing no prep, the fastest we'd run in the car was about an 830 or an 820, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. We could probably click off 830, and on a good day we might click off an 820. It was kind of right in that range. It was pretty consistent. It was still IRS at the time. But we got into no prep, and we put the bigger turbo. We went from a 76 to an 88, and we realized with the 88 we needed a lot of nitrous to get it on the converter, so we had 2 kits on it. We would spray, we were spraying 175 on the first kit, and then we had a 250 on the second kit. And basically what we do is we'd come up on the one kit, get the boost up. As soon as the car would leave, we'd turn both kits on. Both kits would be on for about 60 feet to get the car out of the hole. And then we'd shut the first kit off, and we'd run just full boost and the second kit all the way down the track. And we were probably on our best day, no prep. I mean, I guess I can say the time because this was so long ago, it doesn't matter now, but we were probably a high 490 car back then on IRS. And we would win some, we would lose some, but we never really just did really, really well. It was always like we'd go a couple rounds and then we'd lose. And, we would always bet money. We'd win a couple here, lose a couple there, but we had fun, and that was really all that mattered.
I think it would piss the people off if they saw you drive off the track and to the track, not trailer it.
Yeah, well, by that time we were trailering the car. We weren't driving it to the track anymore, but yeah. But so Dewey's like, well, what do we need to do to go faster? It's like, well, let's put a bigger turbo on it. So we went from an 88 to a 94. And while we had the 88, the engine was pretty reliable. Like, we would get 60, 70, 75 passes out of an engine before we would have an issue. And the problem was always the same. We'd always crack a block because we were using the factory iron blocks. We were using the factory crank, the factory head. All we were doing was putting rods, pistons, and cams in it.
Where was the limit on them? Like, where did you say that was like it?
When we had the 88 maxed out, with the 88 with the 250 shot on top was kind of the limit. Like, we would get 65, 75 passes, which I figured probably around 1700 horsepower. Mm-hmm. So it probably wasn't making the whole 250. It was probably making 175 or 200 of it. So yeah, I would say the 1600 horsepower range was kind of the upper reliability limit of that iron block. As soon as we went to the 94, I mean, the car was obviously much faster, but we were only getting 20 or 30 passes out of a block, and then the blocks were splitting in half and cracking, and we're having all kind of problems. So, we spent more time in the shop swapping engines out than we were actually racing the thing. At least that's what it seemed like. And there was a period of time where we had 3 complete engines at any given time ready to drop in, and we were literally, we'd crack a block, we'd pull the motor out, we'd throw the other motor in, we'd pull the pistons, rods, and the crank out of that block, stuff it into a new block, and assemble that, have it ready to go back in rotation. And we had the same set of piston, rods, and crank for, I'd have to say, probably 12 or 15 blocks that we went through before we finally like, there has to be a better way.
And were those the ones that were like separating like between the deck surface and the block itself? Like they were lifting the whole block in half?
The fronts would break off, the backs would break off, they would split. Like we had one that I guess the concrete was still a little damp, and I guess what I think happened is that the water in the concrete flash boiled, and it literally split the sides of the block off of the cylinders. Like the cylinders were still there, but all the side of where the concrete was all completely just like broken off. It was pretty extravagant thing to watch.
So these things are actually filled too, and probably a lot of people like nowadays. Probably not a lot of people know that used to do that. And I mean, I guess bringing it back for things like this. I mean, I've personally filled blocks non-shrink, non-metallic grout. I mean, that's what we always used to get, and that's hilarious.
Yeah, we've been using that Moroso hard block stuff. I think is what they were using.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we finally got to the point where there was a company, Mosworks. They were making these billet blocks, and Dewey's like, man, he's like, all this money I spent, on swapping these blocks constantly is like, man, I might as well just buy a billet block. I was like, hell yeah, let's buy a billet block. So he bought one, and we had it sucked really bad. There was about a 1-year period where we had nothing but issues during this transition of going to the billet block, and it wasn't one thing. There was like 5 or 6 different problems that all kind of erupted at the same time and caused us all kind of issues, and it just took us a while to put our finger on every single one and sort it all out. It's one thing if you have one problem at a time, it's a lot easier to like diagnose and fix that problem, but when you have like 4 or 5 different issues all at the same time, it's like it's hard to know like, okay, what caused what and why did this happen and why did that happen. So we went through a bit of a curve during that transition, and during that time we changed engine builders. We're now using Scott Herzog from Aero Machine. I think I'm sure a lot of the guys that listen to this show probably know who he is.
Yep.
And that guy, night and day difference. He straightened our engine program out so quick. Like, basically all the stuff we had, we took it over there. He started looking at everything, measuring everything. He's like, all right, all this stuff's going in the trash. He's like, we're ordering this, this, and this, and this is how it's going to go. And this billet block we have in the motor now, it's got over 75 passes on it at over 80 to 85 pounds of boost on most of those passes, and it's still running with no issues. We've actually blown up 2 turbos since we put this block in. We're on our 3rd turbo now. We just put a 102 on it. So
that's insane.
That's a testament to the block and a testament to Scott's engine building, because we spend that thing like 10,500. We were at World Cup. We're spending like 11,200 because we didn't have enough gear. We kind of undershot the gear a little bit. So, and it's just still going, which is mind blowing.
Whose turbo is it?
Yeah. Well, now it's got a Pro Mod 102 Precision. Before it had, we've been through a 71, a 76, an 88, 294s, and now we're on a 102. So it's just kind of this progression over time.
That's a lot of turbo, man.
Yeah. Well, at World Cup, it went 697 at 204, and the car weighed 3,050 at that race. So we were probably, the turbo's only really good for about 1,800, but, the way we have the inlet, we're probably getting another, we're probably getting a little bit more power just from the air being forced in the front.
Yep.
On the big end of the track. So, the mile an hour shows that, it was probably just over 2,000, 2,100, somewhere around there.
It's just amazing, like just talking about these power levels now. It's still, we talk about it all the time, and it just blows my mind. Chris, how old are you?
I'm 37 now.
Yeah, kind of a youngster.
Yep.
I'm getting to a point I can say that. Get off my lawn. It's
getting older.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like that stuff two sides of this. You can make this kind of power and you can manage it. You can actually make this kind of power without, being a jackass with a can of nitromethane.
Yeah.
Looking for an explosion. You can make this reliable. It's amazing.
How many passes do you? I know you said you had 75 hits or something on the block, but how many hits can you make at that kind of level before you freshen the thing?
That's still got the same crank rods and pistons in it. We haven't. The only thing we've had to change on it since that long block went together was we had a different head on it originally, and it had like a crack behind an exhaust seat, and it would seep water. Like every time we fire the engine up, you'd see like the number 6 CGT was like a little bit like low, and then you could see steam coming out, and it would kind of gurgle a little bit, and it'd clear up, and it'd run fine. And we ran it like that a lot before it finally just blew a hole through the crack, and we had to change the head out. But other than that, the piston rods, crank, all that stuff, it's never come out. It's been in it the whole time.
So if you don't hurt it,
once we get to 100 once we get to 100 passes, we're going to pull it out, and Scott's going to measure everything and see how much stretch and smush and everything we got. I keep it real good close. We keep an eye on the oil pressure, and our crew chief, Fabian, he's always constantly pulling the filter. We've got one of those see-through oil filter housings where it's got the screen on top. You purge the oil out, and you can see if there's any debris in there. So it's kind of nice. So he stays on top of that. So if we see any little signs of anything going off, then we'll stop and pull it out before we put a hole in it.
So where's that car racing like these days?
Mainly no prep. We're actually going to be at Redemption this weekend. We were at Redemption a couple weekends ago. We made it to the not the semifinals, but the semi-semifinals. And we blew the turbo up at the end, about right at the end of the pass, so we didn't get to go to the next round. But it's been a fun car, man. I got to try a lot of cool stuff. We just started experimenting with aero on the car a little bit, and a couple of other people I know were kind of making fun of me because I wanted to put a wing on the car. Like, oh, that's some ricer crap, blah, 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 blah. Well, turns out that the extra 150 pounds that we were having to put over the back tires, well, that wing completely negated the need for that 150 pounds times about 2, and it only lost about a mile an hour. It was actually 3 mile an hour slower with the weight than it was without the weight using the wing for downforce. So the wing was actually more efficient and provided more downforce than having the extra weight in the back of the car.
And I would imagine that the improvement from the wing, I mean, look, your main mile an hour loss is at the very big end. So the improvement of traction all the way through with the benefit of not having the 150 at the start, I mean, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you're going 200. You know, this shit starts to matter a lot.
Yeah, and you could see, like, from about 70 miles an hour and on, you could really start to see, like, I have tons of sensors on this car, like the ECU logs. I think I'm up to just over like 500 channels right now. A lot of that's calculated stuff, but there's a lot of sensors on the car too. And you can see, like, passes with the weight versus passes with the wing. There's like a very, very just definite deviation in the rear shock compression, you know, between the two, and it's substantial. I mean, like almost over 2 times the amount of downforce compared to the weight as far as, you know, pressure on the tire.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous. So tracks where we would spend on the big end, we couldn't put all the power down. Now we can put all the power down, and we need a bigger turbo.
Right.
Now, is the wing adjustable?
Currently, it is not adjustable, but I've written some code in my package. So I have like a custom M1 package that I sell to all my customers that run the Motec stuff. I wrote some code in there to control some RC servos, and I've got some real high torque RC servos, and we're actually going to make the wicker bill adjustable so I can map it down the track.
This guy's awesome.
That's next level.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
If I'm going to target like a suspension, you know, like max, like compression, like a length yet, or if I'm just going to map it by angle down the track. But I'll probably end up trying it both ways and seeing which way works better. But
So you're actually going to make the thing be at its optimal efficiency at some point. That's crazy, and you do all that yourself.
As much as we can.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing better than that, man. If you
Oh.
know you want to change something and you got to make pass after pass, I mean, that's the first thing that like a good guy would think. Like, how can we do this so we can do it the whole time?
Yeah, I know.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
just worried. Yeah, I was just thinking that this guy's way too smart to be talking to us. That's what I was thinking.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's cool shit.
It's fun for me. I mean, like, you know, we run these guys and we see these, you know, there's a couple cars out there. We're like, man, how are these guys getting down the track every single time, like, so fast? And it's like, what are we missing, you know? And we just sit back and look at it, and we're like, okay, well, they've got a wing. We don't have a wing. Let's throw a wing on it and see what happens, you know? And, like, we put a wing on it. We're like, oh, okay. Well, this is great, except for on a good track, this is going to hurt us. So how do we make it good for us on a bad track and good for us on a good track? And it's like, well, we don't want to have to bolt shit on and off and constantly play with it. So let's make it automatic. So that's kind of the train of thought. And
Wow.
now it's where we're at with it. We won't have it working by this weekend, but another couple weeks. I'm still finalizing some of the programming side of it in my house.
I was actually just thinking, you know, just manually adjust the thing. That's what was in my head. Manually adjust it for track conditions. You know, I wasn't thinking doing
I'm
it.
I'm gonna say something here, and I don't know if I'm gonna be right, but I'm gonna take a shot at this. This is why the home automation stuff, I think, helped him do this, because the home automation is a series of, if this happens, this happens. If this happens, this happens.
Yeah,
we
like
want to
electronic flow chart.
We want to make all this shit happen depending on all these conditions.
Yep.
And it sounds exactly like home automation stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah, definitely a lot of influence, you know, the control. I mean, control system's a control system's a control system. And in the ECU, all it is the control system. You got signals coming in, and you tell it to do shit with the signals that come in, and it controls stuff going out, whether it's injectors, coils, whatever. So it's basically the same thing, just a different platform. So yeah, you're exactly right on that.
That's
exactly right.
You know, I never thought about an ECU like a controller. that's kind of funny, but yeah, that's really all it is in the end.
A perfect example is, you know, Pro AFI, you know, who I've been using for a really long time. Their main ECU, the 128, it's a generic controller that was built by Motorola Continental, and it's used on CNC machines, it's used in tanks, it's used in diesel trucks, it's used in, you know, vehicles, it's used in, you know, all kinds of different industrial applications, but it's also been turned into a standalone aftermarket, you know, engine computer. So it's, you know, there are a lot of the aftermarket, you know, ECU companies do build them specifically for vehicles, but you don't necessarily have to. You can buy a controller that's ruggedized, that's designed to be used in harsh environments, and turn it into something that'll run an engine. I mean, it's not. It's just a control system. At the end of the day, it's really all it is. So, what really matters is the. that's where what separates the good stuff from the not so good stuff.
No doubt.
That's really cool shit. So what other kind of secret squirrel stuff can you share with us?
I don't know. I'm always playing with different stuff. We've got some cool stuff going on in that Godzilla car. I can't really. Yeah, I can kind of give away a little bit of it, but not too much. We're still working on the chassis. When we got the car together, we started with these tires that were not really like a known tire. Mickey Thompson had just released it, and we decided to try them. And I think we spent the last 6-7 months fighting these tires, not realizing that was the problem. So we've had suspension all over the place. We've had the 4-link all over the place. We've tried all different kinds of strategies to get the car to go down the track without shaking the tires, and I think we pretty much determined the tires are the problem. But anyways, we've got some cool stuff on that car. In my Pro Drag package, I have the ability to measure the exact distance that the vehicle has traveled. So I can actually calculate an ET without having an ET. So like at all these races where we're racing where there's no prep and stuff, we have a really good idea within probably, a tenth accuracy of what our car is running at any given time. We also use that calculation for other things, like I have like an automatic parachute display system. So if the car gets sideways, or if he's in the throttle for X amount of time, or if he's traveled X amount of distance, it pops the chute automatically.
Can I ask you a secret squirrel question?
Yeah, sure.
That thing that measures the ET, and I think Tom knows exactly where I'm going with this.
I do.
That thing that measures the ET, could it be used, say, backwards?
Yeah, it can pretty much be used on anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm asking that right, but
no, I know what you're saying, because we talked about that a year and a half ago.
You can. What you're asking me is going to be used for traction control?
Yeah, could you tell it I need to go 850 with a 1? I mean, I know it ain't going to be perfect, but man, I've been. I see. This is the thinker. When you're trying to solve, you solve a problem. That's what it comes down to.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you could use it for all kind of
nefarious
stuff like that. I was trying to think of the word, but yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me is being able to. What I've found is that for the longest time everybody uses timers for everything, and timers have been tried and true, and that's what people still use today. But what I'm finding is that there's a lot of things that we can determine, or that we can kind of window during a pass based on the distance where the vehicle is on a track. And it doesn't always line up exactly the same on the timer, especially on a no prep where the surface is really consistent. So, at 3/10, you might not be in the same spot on the track on 3 different passes. On a radial car, it's different because it's way more consistent. You're not spinning. You don't have as much of a, gradient across the track where you're gaining and losing distance versus time. But a no prep, time is not really the most accurate way to determine where you are in a pass. The distance traveled has been really, really useful in that regard. I can look at a run and say, okay, well, at 323 feet, the car breaks loose every single time. Okay, so at 315 feet, I'm going to knock 5 degrees out of it, for 0.2 of a second, and then put it back in, and now I'll skip right over that spot on the track, and I don't spin anymore.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that by time, because if you spin a little bit more out of the hole, you spin a little bit less out of the hole, your distance versus your time is different, and it doesn't line up in the same spot on the track every time. So that's been really useful for me as a way to better kind of locate positions on the track. I don't know, I have a hard time explaining things.
No. That's exactly what we talked about.
Yeah,
Tom and I talked about this. This started as soon as we started talking about Drag Week. I'm like, look, dude, if we could get a solid 60, and we knew that this 60, you know you got good resolution on the wheel stuff.
Yep.
You could count. And Tom's like, yeah, but what if it spun a little bit? So what? You spun a couple feet at the big end of the track. That number doesn't matter much.
Yep.
Right.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to do it. The way we're doing it right now is a little bit more basic. There's another way. I actually bought a device for a customer in Kuwait, one of my Middle Eastern customers, to put on his car, and we haven't got a chance to play with it yet, but I think it's actually going to be a little bit more precise than the way we're doing it now. And the problem is it's like 5 times the cost, so.
That always sucks. I got a really high-tech question for you. Somebody wants to know why you don't like to share corn dogs.
It must be Pete.
Yeah, it's Pete. How to get?
Pete's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah, he was one.
Like the number one. Like you can always count on him to come to the track and have like the best food at any event.
Oh,
that's the guy right there.
That's an important guy. Yeah, he's one of many that have told us to get you on the show, and I certainly understand why now. I mean, it's you've been a wealth of knowledge, and just the last couple of minutes has been really cool. Especially makes me feel a little smarter because we talked about that for a long time. Well, just a little smarter.
Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of people to thank for that, though. I've had a lot of influence through my years, and so can't say I did it all by myself. That's for sure.
No, you had to implement it, man. You had to make it work, and that's the deal.
Hey, real quick, what do you drive?
Oh man, I've got an old 2006 Honda Accord with 300,000 miles on it.
Oh wow, so you're really doing it.
Yeah, man, 28 miles to the gallon, 30 on the highway. I don't have to pay a note on it. My insurance is dirt cheap.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a new car, but I drive like almost 30 miles to work one way, and I just really couldn't justify buying a new car or just putting miles on it like that. So,
but you got nothing fast, nothing fun, no, R8 or something like that?
No, I used to have a drag. I had a lot of motorcycles growing up. I rode motorcycles for a really long time, and I had a turbo bike, and I had a couple NA bikes, and I don't know, man. I just don't have the time. Like, I mean, I'm so absorbed with all the race car stuff. I live vicariously through my customers now, so it's not so bad not having a fast car. It's definitely cheaper not having a fast car.
Yeah.
Right around the age of 30-something is when I realized, this motorcycle shit just can't keep going, or I ain't going to be here.
Man, it was right. It was right about the same time for me. I used to ride like a maniac, and I told myself, I was like, the day when I push myself, when I go too far, that's the day I'm going to quit. And it happened. I was riding with a buddy, and we were on a freeway that I wasn't familiar with, and I always swore I would never haul ass on any kind of road that I wasn't familiar with, and I did. I was following them, and I hit this bump at about 175 or so, and I literally, my whole body like came off the seat.
Yep.
And I was only holding on with my hands, and then I landed back on the seat, and that was the moment I knew. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm way too comfortable on this thing. I just made the mistake of one of my biggest rules that I have. I totally ignored it. I was like, it's time. And, I just had a kid not too long before that, and I was like, yeah, it's time. So.
Well, that's a good way to get it, though, that you got back down onto the seat.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I got lucky. I definitely got lucky.
I talked about exactly that kind of thing. You're so damn comfortable. I used to drive my motorcycle home on like one of the big highways up here at like 2:00 in the morning because there was never anybody around, just matted like as fast as it would go. And I remember like it was like one hand, like full tuck, like on the seat, like just like on autopilot. Like you'd be looking around like, oh, look at the trees, just because you're not thinking. And then I've told it on here. I saw something and I was like, what is there something up there? And it was a dump truck with no taillights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy fuck. And got past him and then like rode the rest of the way home like in shock. And that was the time I said, nope, I'm done. This is too comfortable. Yeah. I'm finished.
Well,
yeah, I had a lot of friends that died on bikes before that, and it never really, I was like, it's just because they're being stupid, I always kind of shook it off as like, well, they were just being stupid, and I don't do that. And then that one time when I did that, I was like, damn, I just did that. It's time. It's time
Yep.
to stop.
Well, at least you were smart enough to realize it.
Yeah, good for you, man.
That's the important thing.
I love motorcycles. I was a fan. I had a blast. Tad had a pretty unfortunate episode. That's where his reboot came from. that's what kind of got him formatted. But yeah, that was that's you did the right thing, man.
Yep.
And,
Well, listen, man. Do yourself a favor and plug everything you want to plug right now. You know, phone numbers, website, everything.
and let me interrupt you real quick. People were asking how much the piggyback deal is. You know, excuse me, for the direct injection.
For the DI.
Yep.
Yeah. So they retail at $3,000. And that's complete plug and play with a base map ready to go.
That's not that much.
No, and
you made it sound like it was $9,000.
I know that I have a tendency to do shit like that and say, well, big deal. But I mean, if you've got, a car like this, I don't think $3,000 is the end of the world.
No, that's a home run.
That's a home run.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the power potential is unlimited once you have it. You can put, you could put billet atomizers on if you wanted to and run methanol on the port injection. It doesn't care. So at that point, you're kind of unlimited to what you can do. Yeah, if anybody is interested in it, my company's ProSpeed Autosports. You can find us on Facebook or you can call us. Our website is prospeedautosports.com, and you can get in touch with us anywhere. Really, Facebook's probably the best bet. Message us, or you can go on there and
Okay. Yeah, people.
Just trying to think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, actually,
I'm bad with this stuff.
yeah. No, it's okay because our people, if they need to get you, they'll ask us about it too. But one other thing I got to tell you, we have a ZR1 on order that is immediately getting some kind of stroker and big power. So I may be calling you. I had no idea you had that kind of stuff. So we may be in touch sooner than later.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
So
let us know, and
no, it's all good. I'll definitely be in touch. But listen, man, thank you very much for coming. You seem like the kind of guy that we would like to have on again at some point because you got a lot of stuff going on. But appreciate having you, and everybody. They're all saying that great guest. Thank you, all that stuff. So thanks a lot for coming on.
yeah, I appreciate the invite, guys.
Hey, are you close to Dynocom? Like geographically?
No, we're in Houston. They're in Fort Worth.
Okay.
I guess we're kind of close. I mean, we're about 4 hours away or so.
Yeah, we're closer to than I am. All right, no problem. Yeah, I just didn't know. I mean, I know Texas is a big state.
Yeah,
I've been told.
very. Yep.
Seen a map.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, again, thanks. It was fun, and maybe next time we'll come up with a few more technical stories we can talk about.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
All right, Chris. Thanks, man.
All right, guys.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
See, I feel bad to talk to a guy like that because I'm not well versed enough on like the things that he would like to talk about, like the Uber tech stuff.
Who is? I mean, really?
But you look at it, it's kind of like your old bikes and stuff like that. Everybody's got the same path.
Yeah,
up to where we
are.
A
lot of people do. But the home automation stuff was hilarious. You started talking about controllers. I was like, I know what that guy does.
Yeah, yeah.
At AMX and Crestron and Savant, all that stuff. Yeah.
That's pretty cool stuff, though.
Well, that's like that wing stuff. Like that. I always go back to the stupid circle track car.
Yeah.
We're making laps, and I was like, God damn it, I want to change that. And got a linear motion motor and replaced the front panhard bar with it. And then he had a little button in the car.
Yep.
I mean, if I got really slick about it, in today's day and age, you'd say, okay, GPS, where's the car on the track? Pull the left front tire under, but all that
Put it
stuff.
on your iPhone.
It's sit there like if he's fucked up, so you're fucked up now, I'm going to loosen you way up. That's amazing shit. And boy, that ET deal, motherfucker.
Yeah.
How long do we talk about that?
Long. Well, we got to talk off the air because I got some.
I don't think it matters.
No, I want to talk about somebody else off the air.
All right.
But no, he was good. He was definitely good. Hey, all you guys out there that are talking about and ladies talking about tire guys. Yeah, we agree. We need a tire guy. There's no doubt we need a tire guy. But for whatever reason, tire guys have blown us off twice now. If anybody knows a tire guy, have at it, because we have had no luck with tire guys, telling me that they're going to be. Actually, one guy was scheduled, and it sucks. So
it really wasn't your fault.
No, actually, wasn't my fault.
I knew that. I was just
I know.
fucking with you.
Yeah,
I don't know why a tire guy should be so tough.
I know.
Unless, these aren't situations where their guys are maybe, say, salesmen, and they don't really know, like, what we're going to ask them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not picking on the guys you talk to, and I'm not minimizing who they are, because I personally, honestly, don't even know who they are. But there's some people that don't want to play Stump the Comedian. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the only things I could figure. Because, why wouldn't a company want to come on and talk about their shit, especially with how involved tires are and everything now, that with as fast as it's going with, the no prep and everything else. I think that's a big one.
Yes, Allison, somebody canceled.
Ooh. I just got an alert that our disc is almost full.
Oh,
I will have to
Again?
that can't be good.
dump some stuff.
That
No,
can't be good.
all these shows in a book, man.
And somebody just said a clutch guy. I guess. Okay.
Do they
Clutch guy.
still use them?
Well, I don't know. That's that thing with the extra pedal.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. Piss somebody. Well, we shouldn't say
Real
that.
drivers use
The
them.
ninja uses it. He'll come smack us around, making fun of the wrong guy.
Yeah, I guess we could have a clutch guy. And I don't know. I know kind of like the start of it, and I know more of the end of it, like to make the thing go down the track. Alan will profess to be a clutch guy next. That will be the next thing. He'll probably write,
God.
any minute.
So annoying.
But honestly, he might know a clutch guy.
Well, I know clutch guys. Actually,
Okay.
I
What
know.
were you talking about? The people that were also going to, I don't want to say it, but the people that were looking at the 6L80 stuff that we had talked about briefly, they were going to introduce some products or possibly even, okay.
Yep.
And they've certainly been around a long, long time.
Yeah. I'll call him.
Should I make a note?
No, I was just thinking about Paul Lee. He owns McLeod, but I'll call his guy. Yeah.
All right, good deal.
Yep. So, all right, we'll do that.
All right, what else? And I know somebody was on hold, like right when he called in, but
Yeah, I don't know. Who that was.
I couldn't, and no offense, I couldn't answer. We were talking to the guy.
Yeah, don't even know who it was.
Just couldn't do it. So
Well, Fudd just said something that finally makes sense. He said, "I know nothing."
How could we end the show any better than that?
we couldn't? We actually couldn't. Can he really have typed that?
Fudd, in a moment of clarity,
Yeah, there it
finally
was.
figured out what's wrong. Oh Christ!
Oh,
I'm sorry. I just like picking up people. I can't help it.
that was perfect. That is the best way.
All right. So anything else, Tad? You're going to fix your car?
Yeah, it's Friday, hopefully, if it's not raining or something.
Let's see who this is. Here's a guy
Oh.
calling, and of course, you had a call right when I tagged the phone interface, but that's okay. We'll bring it back. Whoops.
Maybe
Give me
not.
Just a second. Really?
Apparently not.
I got it. Because the disk is full. No. Looks like the phone is not happy.
Oh.
That's really bizarre. I can't.
To call in next time.
Nope, there we go.
Oh.
Hang on. Something's really dragging. Oh, it's the guy to call before.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, man, sorry we couldn't get you before. What's up?
Hey, I wanted to call in after your guys' podcast probably 2 times through. I just wanted to call in and say it's a great podcast.
Oh, cool.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we do. Where are you from?
Yeah. I'm from Portland, Oregon with the bunch of Libby guys.
Yeah, sorry, no offense. That didn't out. And look, all that bullshit political stuff aside, we're all car guys. Some of us, just a little.
Yeah, but they are nuts up there.
Yeah, they do get a little crazy up there.
Are you one of them?
No.
Attaboy.
Thank God, no.
Good.
Have to be careful with the listeners. You guys on the phone, you don't want to offend them.
Well, I can't offend him now. He's one of us.
This is true. Most car guys are. All right. So, is there a lot going on with cars?
Yes. Here. Yeah, I got to see him run the near
Those guys,
I don't
look.
care with the 200. I know a couple guys Definitely.
TR
Oh,
did they all pay.
definitely. It was.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Put your want to hear from.
Yeah.
Calibrated success, computer tuning, and person. There was when you guys talked about it earlier in the buying and stuff with those motors were in hard everything. 8-inch rod bolt.
Yeah, and the goof and everything.
It's actually good bolts, but still, they're bullshit. I mean, that's stuff that Mike from, like, I guess he would work. I was getting these box of intake manifolds for, like, what crazy stuff. Alright, so the stories of
You guys, I'm have hardly any experience stories you guys got.
we're glad you're enjoying it. Tell if you have anything you want us to talk. It's even in the beginning today.
Yeah.
We just
Some kind of pre-show game.
well, we yell at him for a few minutes about it.
Time, fella.
And then videos on his telephone. That's our pregame.
And then it's 7 o'clock.
Then it's 6:59 or so. I say zip it so everybody can shut up to let the compressor come down, and here we go. Off to the races.
Is Tad driving that shit box yet?
He was.
Broke it already.
He broke it already.
He broke it.
Didn't take long.
Oh God.
Yeah, he said it earlier in the show. He broke the rear end, but he got a rear
replacement
for
already.
it, and he'll get it done. But it's just
have that retarded Detroit locker in it.
That's gone.
that's what he had.
That's what he blew up.
and I think that's why it broke. Yep.
Cool.
All right.
See.
Well, thanks again, John. Appreciate it. Tell your friends, or somebody.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. I'll see you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye bye.